Welcome to the Glowing Skin series. I'm Christine Ho, and today I have Dr. Howard W. Fisher. Dr. Howard W. Fisher is a highly sought out lecturer and one of the best doctors to specialize in anti-aging medicine. So hello, welcome, and thank you for being here.
My pleasure, Christine.
Oh yes, and so tell us your own personal story.
There's not much to tell. I'm trying to save the world, mostly from themselves. And so I've been involved in anti-aging medicine from before it was a discipline. I'm trying to optimize. I'm trying to determine what we have to do to get the most out of life and live to be about 120 years old. So in a nutshell, I seek knowledge and I share knowledge. I've lectured around the world, 30 countries. 19 books to date. I'm translated into about 12 languages.
Oh wow, that sounds amazing. Yeah, so actually have you helped with helping people helping other people to live to be 120 years old?
We don't have 120 years old yet because here's the problem. The problem is by the time people seek a doctor, something's already wrong and usually something significant in what I mostly do. And so no one's lived to be 120 yet that we know of that is living in a pseudo-civilized situation. And that may be the problem. The problem is the Hunza Valley in northern Pakistan used to have people living to be very old. Now, I think about 117 was the oldest recorded that we've seen. So the lifespan in the United States is approximately 79 and it's shrinking. So that means the problem is, well, endemic to the US and North America and Western civilizations for sure.
Oh yes, yeah, that makes sense. So, how did you get into anti-aging medicine?
I would say that I was looking for solutions to problems that people may not have even known were problems. And what do I mean by that? So 1960, look at Harper's Magazine. You look at Harper's Magazine, you see doctors wearing white coats, stethoscope, smoking a cigarette saying, "Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Soothes your throat, good for throat issues, good for irritations, good for a number of things." Never talked about the 4,000 chemicals or 200 known poisons or 40 plus carcinogens in it. People didn't know. They didn't realize. And so the bottom line is that I realized and I started looking for solutions before I knew there were questions. As my wife says, I'm usually about 10 years ahead.
Well, that's always a great thing, and it's always best to have a doctor who's ahead of their time, and especially looking after things that before they're cool.
Yeah, well, people aren't listening though. That's the problem. There's a lack of compliance when they go, "You think there might be an issue with cell phones?" Oh, my first book on electromagnetic radiation came out in 2007.
Wow. Yeah, so that is actually, that's a long time ago. So that's definitely a long time that people have been. Actually, yeah, I think there were some different information about cell phones and cancer a long time ago, but not too many people were taking that seriously.
And while we're on the topic, let me explain that it's not the providers. They're only minorly involved because of the pinging of the towers. It's not the cell phone manufacturer. It's a little device. It's a little battery-powered device. It's the information that we're sending back and forth that can have whatever effects it has. There are effects. There's documented effects. We really haven't been in that arena long enough to know for sure. But once again, 1960, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. So, they didn't know. I like to look at those issues. I like to look into areas that I don't think the solutions are being offered.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense, actually. So going back to our original topic, so you know, like how can you help with anti-aging medicine and also with how it affects our skin?
So, what do you think is the largest organ in the body?
It's our skin, of course.
So, we breathe air about 18 times a minute. It's important that that air is the best quality air we can for every organ in our body. We drink water. Everything gets hydrated. Humans are 75% water. Skin, when it's dry, flakes off. Hydration is extremely important for skin, and nutrition. We have to build new skin all the time. I mean, you understand that, 8 to 10 pounds of skin a year flakes off. So we're building skin. What are we building it from? The nutrition that we're putting into our body. So we have 3 major factors right there that contribute to skin. Now, what can we affect most? Well, you really can't affect the air because you're not in your home all the time, and you're not necessarily controlling the air in your work environment, and you're not necessarily controlling the air between your home and your work environment. So, then there's nutrition. You can totally control that. So the best way to take care of your skin is A, topically, making sure that, not a lot of contributing entities, whether they're toxins in the air or toxins on your skin or toxins you place on your skin with cosmetics, are there, and nutrition. Hydration is a given, and we need the hydration.
Yes, of course, that's very, very true. So are there certain elements with, because you've mentioned about our environment, or, what we put on our skin, our nutrition, are there certain types of things that you would recommend to help other people with what they can do for their skin?
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of people have the wrong idea about nutrition, hence fast food. Hence, you see the change in fast food. I mean, what do we need? Well, we need to have vitamins, minerals, amino acids, phytonutrients that allow our body to be a factory and build whatever we have to build. And if we're not allowing that, if we're not doing that, then it will then put a hierarchy in place of what's most important, and use all the energy for that. So if you're a smoker, your skin's going to be getting the effects of the smoke superficially, but internally, you're adding a lot of toxins. So your liver's working hard to keep the toxins out of the body. Your liver's it's the manufacturing center, not necessarily making everything you need for your skin. So we're going to take a logical approach. If you're only having sodas, sugar-filled sodas, well, how does that contribute to your skin? So we take a logical approach. Let's look at our diets. Let's look at what we're ingesting as a liquid. Let's look at our environment. If we're going to choose a skin cream, let's make sure it's sulfate-free and paraben-free and, and certainly non-GMO and all of these things that can contribute to a situation that will be less than optimal. And that's all, because when we have an optimal immune system, digestive system, functional liver, functional communication, our skin is better.
Oh yes, of course, that makes perfect sense. So actually, can you also explain to us how, our environment plays a key part, because that's actually one of the key elements that you speak about.
So environment involves everything that's outside of you and everything that goes into you. That's your environment. There's a study that showed that 90 to 95% of all disease, chronic disease, is environmental. So it's not you have acne because your mother or father had acne. It may be that the air is not clean. It may be that the diet is the same diet that your mother had, and she's feeding that to you.
Yes,
So yeah, there are factors. So when we deal with anything, we have to examine what goes into the body and control the factors that we can control. There are a number of factors we can't control. We already went over that. But there are a number of factors that we can control. And in dealing with the situation, what can we control? We can control our hydration, we can control our diet. There are steps we can take to elevate hydration and make it even better and make it more effective. And these are the things we have to look at. If you look at you're looking at food you buy in the supermarket, if you can't pronounce what's on the label, the ingredients, you probably shouldn't be having it. A lot of chemicals in your body don't make it easier for you to have nice skin or health.
Oh yes, of course. Are there certain types of ingredients that you would recommend people should look out for? Or
there are 10,000 different additives they can put into the food. There are another 4,000 that they don't even have to tell you about because they're used in processing the food. Eat as clean and organic as you can, and your body will thank you. Stay away from processed foods, refined foods, and chemical additive preservatives that are in everything.
Oh yes, of course. So you would more recommend things like making food, everything from scratch, right? So that
if you can. It's difficult for most, but I've been a vegetarian for over 30 years.
So would you say being vegetarian also helps a lot with anti-aging?
Well, vegetarian women live 9 years longer and vegetarian men live 6 years longer. Just the statistics. That's all. Just the facts.
Is it more because of certain, is it because of meat itself, or is it because of certain additives that are in meat?
Oh, what a path you're walking down now. Okay, so humans were designed to be vegetarians. The first time a human probably ate meat, they found a dead body of some animal and said, oh, and ate it. Because in those days, animals were eating humans, not humans eating animals that are carnivorous. Our digestive tract is designed to be agrarian, is designed to be vegetarian. Our jaw goes like this, sideways. That's for grinding and crushing with our jaw. Flat teeth, not sharp teeth. No talons. And we have a long digestive tract. The meat eaters have a short digestive tract. The hydrochloric acid, gastric acid content in humans is about 1,100% too weak. That's why when people eat meat, it sits there for a long time. It doesn't have the enzymes in it, which usually is cooked, to digest. So you're stealing from metabolic enzymes. You're stealing energy, you're stealing nutrition to eat meat. That being said, meat eaters love their meat.
That's very true. So that can be something that can be very hard to give up for a lot of people. So
all we do is present facts, Christine. We just present the facts to them. People make their own decisions.
Okay, so would you actually say that, going even the step further of being vegan would be better than even being vegetarian?
Yeah, absolutely. But being vegan, when you travel a lot, I've traveled around the world a lot, is extremely difficult. I remember the first time I was in Bangkok, couldn't find vegetarian food. The last time I was in Bangkok lecturing, they have 4 or 5 excellent vegetarian restaurants. The world's coming, it understands.
Yeah, so that sounds like it's really amazing progress that it's making. And even though it's slow and not as quickly as you'd like, it's still helping a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so even going the step further of like, vegan versus vegetarianism, I mean, there's a lot of things that vegetarians can still have that vegans can't. So among them obviously include stuff like dairy or even other type of animal byproducts like honey or
Honey would not be. Insects are in an interesting area. You can be vegan and have honey. And understand that the line, there's vegetarians, there's ovo-lacto vegetarians, there's vegan vegetarians. Vegans are vegetarians, right? But they're not having milk products and they're not having eggs, right? And the difference is in drawing that line, none of these things have had life, right? And that's with the vegetarians. When you go vegan, you're the nuts and beans. We've been there for a while. It's just become too difficult. I mean, I probably don't have eggs once a month, but I may have cheese. I may have cheese a couple times a week, but I have nuts every day, and I have beans every day. So, and I have moringa every day. So there's all these things that I have that constitute my vegetarian diet. And it's much easier on your digestive tract.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. So can you explain, how, even dairy or eggs would affect us, or it would be, better to not have, or, if it's okay to have?
All right. The concerns are, a lot of the concerns are, A, the difficulty in digestion because they're animal-based products, and B, are they antibiotic-free? Are they hormone-free? What has been done to the animals? Does this carry through into the products you're eating? It's the same with vegetarianism for GMO versus non-GMO. GMO foods are dangerous. And you can have this discussion with whoever you want, but when you start to look at the statistics, there is no denying that there's been a significant increase of disease since GMO foods were introduced into the food chain. And if we look at the slopes on the graphs of the incidence of disease, they're the same slope. And so you can say whatever you want to say, you can argue whatever you want to argue. I'm one who believes that what Jeff Smith is saying is true.
Okay, so can you also explain how, so much of this diet really affects our skin as well?
Anything you eat affects every organ in your body. End of story. It's not even an explanation. It doesn't take any explanation. Everything you eat can make your skin oily, less oily, drier, more well lubricated. Your skin is not nourished by you putting creams on it. That's not nourishing your skin. Okay, when you cut your skin, do you bleed? Why? Blood supply, because there's a blood supply that you've affected, a blood supply that's near the skin that's feeding the skin with nutrition. Where is this nutrition coming from? Ingesting it. This is what we're talking about. Everything you eat affects your skin.
So can you explain how, because you mentioned very specific things in your diet, like nuts and beans and, even moringa, How does all of that help our skin?
Humans are expressions of protein. Nothing more. Everything is protein. Whether you think it is or not, it's protein. Your immunoglobulins, your immune system, all elements of protein. Your skin, it's just protein. Every cell membrane is protein. Your blood, protein. Everything is protein. So the amino acids that you ingest are critical. So if your diet is incomplete in certain amino acids, there are certain elements your body cannot make. That's why you need to have a complete, you need your 8 essential amino acids and histidine in children. So that's why they're there. Meat eaters don't have this issue. Meat eaters do not have that issue. Vegetarians, we have to diversify what we eat in terms of different beans and different nuts to make sure we get all the amino acids. But yeah, so you're an expression of your amino acid. And for the most part, if you're having 100 grams of protein a day, you shouldn't have an issue.
Okay, so more of the beans and the nuts is more for the protein element?
Exactly.
Okay, so how about moringa? Can you explain more details about that one?
Oh, absolutely. My 4th book on moringa comes out very soon. I could talk all day on moringa. Moringa is probably the most phytonutrient-dense plant on the planet. And this being the case, it's a complete food. It's a whole food. It has all the amino acids, not just the 8 essential and histidine. It has them all. It's a plant. So it also has 46 antioxidants. Antioxidants are great for free radical damage to your skin, for free radical damage everywhere. It's got 36 different anti-inflammatories in it. So this being the case, inflammation, you know, the puffy red skin, yeah, inflammation, it helps with that. It's got all the vitamins and all the minerals that you need, and it's heavily weighted for omega-3. So it's a complete medicine chest, but it's a food.
So it's possible, like, I'm not saying anybody should do this or recommending this, but if somebody wanted to, they can eat nothing but moringa and be living a pretty good full life?
I know people that have gone 30, 45 days on moringa itself. My interest in it came from a paper by a nurse in Senegal, where kwashiorkor is protein malnutrition. That's where these children in Africa, and 1 out of every 5 still dies by the age of 5 from malnutrition in sub-Saharan Africa, was advising the world that by giving 3 teaspoons a day of crushed leaves, only the leaves, the formula I take is much more extensive. 3 teaspoons a day to these children was an 80% effective remediation for kwashiorkor, protein malnutrition. As a vegetarian, that was like, okay, I'm there, baby.
Yeah, of course, that makes sense. So, so that's something to where, I mean, you said you could go 30 or 45 days, but like, you know.
You can go forever. If you had enough, you could go forever. It's a complete food.
Does it taste good?
No. Okay, I get mine from a particular source where it tastes great, but the raw moringa that's not been mixed with anything else, the face you usually see is, yeah, it does not taste good. You can mix it in a smoothie, but yeah.
Okay, that would definitely be the, you know, important part for a lot of people out there, so.
But it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Does beer taste good?
Well, I don't drink beer, so.
Well, right. So if you were to have a beer right now, do you think it would taste good?
Oh, I already know it.
No, no. So yet people drink beer. So taste should not be important. Function should be important.
Yes, of course. So tell us, you know, so I know that this is an important part for so many people, you know, that are watching this especially. So tell us, you know, like, I know you already listed some of them, but tell us some more that you haven't already listed, tips that you have to obtain glowing skin.
Well, let me just describe that I know there are essential oils, which are plant-based, that are wonderful for the skin. In my house, we go through a lot of frankincense oil, clinical grade frankincense oil, every day. I have a 90-year-old aunt in England who's a former model, and she swears by almond oil every day. She's there every day, and I know I'm far away from the camera, but I'm approaching many, many decades of life, and so the skin is actually still pretty good, and that's nutrition. And it's not so much what I put on it, but always protect yourself naturally if you're going to be exposed to sun for longer than 10 minutes. Right? And don't try to add chemicals to your skin unless you're trying to accommodate, i.e., either getting it lighter or getting it darker, which a lot of people do for both. So if you live healthy, your skin is healthy, and your skin will reflect your health. So let me put it another way. There's 7 areas that you should consider. 1, watch what you eat, not to damage yourself. 2, find a source of nutrition. 3, exercise. 4, meditate, pray, whatever you want. Change your mindset and how the waveform that is coming out. Clean air, clean water, protection from electromagnetic radiation. These are 7 areas that if you make inroads in any or all of them, your skin will reflect it.
Yes, of course, that's all very good, very sound advice. And so you've mentioned before, you had great emphasis about how our environment affects our daily health. And, of course, you can't change everything about your environment, but tell us how we can actually work our environment to help us to obtain better skin.
Purify your air, purify your water, watch the food you put in. Don't have it extremely oily, greasy, high sugar filled. If you're going to take digestive enzymes, that will help. And I don't care whose. I have a brand that I prefer, but I don't care whose digestive enzymes that you want to take. Take those. They will spare you stealing metabolic enzymes to digest food. Those are some sound tips.
Okay, of course. And so would you also recommend different things like taking multivitamins or?
Well, a multi, if your diet is poor, sure. If you have a proper diet, you really don't need a multi. But we can go to areas that you've touched on. So if you're a vegetarian and you don't have a good source of B12, then perhaps take B12. If you don't see the sun ever, D3. I mean, there are a number of things. But understand that when you're taking a vitamin per se, you're probably only getting 10 to 25% of what's in it. Because it's an extract, it's not a plant. Your body is meant to extract itself from plants, right? And then choose what it wants, and then everything else comes out. And so it will make what it needs if you give it the raw materials. It's a factory. Your body's a factory. That's why it's important to have the liver functioning well. That's why drinkers' skin is poor. People that drink a lot, because their livers are affected. If your liver's affected, it's hit or miss.
Oh yes, of course. So what can you do if your liver is affected? What can you say to?
I have a large consulting practice, and so I'm not going to venture over the line here and give out medical advice. So we'll just say, you've got my email. If someone has an issue, we can discuss it there.
Okay, of course. And so you've also written several different books. So tell us about those.
Oh, they're too diverse. I've written several on water. I've written Well, my fourth on Moringa comes out, a lot on nutrition, a number on electromagnetic radiation. When I seek information, and sometimes it ends up being a book.
Yes, you also teach at the Health Optimization Coaching Academy. So tell us about that.
Well, that was an interesting project. I was approached by a gentleman who's involved with Maxwell Coaching to get together because I have a lot of, he thought, valuable information. For me, it's just my information that I put out there. We put it together, and there are a lot of health coaches out there. There are a lot of poorly trained health coaches out there. There are a lot of very expensive courses out there for health coaches. We thought we would put the right information in one place, make it very inexpensive for people to get proper information that if you took it just for yourself, you would live a healthier life and you would know what is on the cutting edge, and make it available to anybody in their own time, right? So it's on demand, it's online on demand, and it's called the Health Optimization Coaching Academy, or HOCacademy.com, right? So we've had a lot of success with that because of the quality of the information. Our graduates love it. It's a certification program, and it helps when someone approaches you and says, well, you know, I've got a liver problem. What can I do about it? Well, they have the answer. They have an answer. Well, I would start on this, and we know what we can do. And this is an area that is important. I mean, because there are a lot of people that hold themselves out there without knowing anything and pretend that they do. Where someone said, well, you have to take everything for the body. This is just a few days ago. You have to take everything for the body, exactly what the body needs. I said, well, there's an entire discipline called organic chemistry, which talks about how the body builds, how it puts together from the raw nutrients. So I was trying to be polite and say, you know, I don't think that's correct. As a matter of fact, it's totally incorrect. That's why there's only 8 essential amino acids to build 20 amino acids that the body uses. So this is the big issue, and this is why we have to educate, we have to help, and we have to make the world a better place by providing the education that they need.
Oh, yes, of course. So would you actually say that the academy would be better for people who are looking to just figure it out for themselves, or better for people who want to coach others?
Both. But you've got it right. We put the information there so that everyone can understand, and it's, once you're a member of the academy, you can play a lecture. You can play a lecture 10 times to get what you want. You can always go back to get what you need out of that lecture. We had one of our first graduates was a plastic surgeon, and you don't have to be a doctor and you don't have to be a nurse, although we have a lot of them involved as students. He got 100% on the testing. He got 100% on every exam. So the exams are online too, and you can take them as often as you need. We do change the order of the questions though.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, you can't go A, B, C, D, A, B, A. Yeah, it's not going to work.
Yeah, well, I hope you change the questions themselves too.
On occasion, we don't want to make it so difficult for them, because they're, right now, I think we're around 30 hours of course material, somewhere in that neighborhood. So we don't want to make it too difficult. We're not making it like a university program. You're not coming out with an MD or a DC or a doctor of naturopathy, but you're going to have a lot of information.
Well, that's definitely good for a lot of people out there to know about and to, you know, educate themselves with as well.
Absolutely, we feel so.
So yes, what are you most proud of from 2017?
2017? I guess that's Jake. Jake is my grandson.
Oh, yeah, that's so nice and exciting.
Yeah, and yes, in 2018, it'll be my granddaughter, who's coming June 1st. So yeah, so that's most proud.
Oh, yes, of
That's
course.
that's most proud.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And you know what you're definitely most excited about for 2018 as well.
As well, I have a book coming out. I'm far more excited about my granddaughter.
Of course, that makes perfect sense. Yes, of course. And so tell us about your free gift.
You know what? When you supply me with a name, they will receive one of my books.
Yes, of course. So is there any book in particular you're giving out, or would it be any?
I think it'll be one that will provide awareness on hydration and electromagnetic radiation.
Okay, yes. Can you say the title of that book for them?
Molecular resonance effect technology.
Okay, yes. So if you would actually like a copy of that book, please also click on the link below. And so just to get some more insight about what you're willing to share for, you know, skin types, are you also going to be writing another book about skincare?
No. I deal mostly with extremely significant issues. So I'll just keep to consulting in that area.
Okay, yes, of course. So do you also write books about, so you do specialize in anti-aging, so are there certain books that are, you know, specializing about how you can, you know, look and feel younger, you know, for as long as possible?
You know, I write books because they just come to me. I don't write them because I sit down to write a book. And so right now I'm more into consulting because it allows me more time. Writing a book is a labor. And if you've seen any of my books, they're heavily researched and heavily footnoted. And so for me, golf season is coming and my granddaughter's coming and my grandson is here. So the 20th book of mine is coming out in, I think, April. So I think we're good for now.